I'm Michael, and today I'm invading the kitchen of Robin Murphy. I have the most incredible friends that anyone can ask for. I am invading their kitchens, finding out what makes them so awesome, and cooking food that is gluten-free, dairy-free, and de-effing-licious. Today we're going to be cooking a hash brown stroganoff. Like everything we're going to be doing on the show, this is going to be gluten-free, dairy-free, and de-effing-licious. Okay, so first thing we're going to have to do is get the mushrooms and chop them up. Get started. By the way, we're winging this. This is the first time we're doing this show. We're playing it as it goes to see what happens. It might end up sucking. The important thing is we're relaxed. You should never cook whenever you're stressed. And you should never handle knives while drinking alcohol. Just saying. Bad. So, Robin.
Yes.
The reason that I came into your house is because you are one of my cool, awesome friends.
Well, thank you.
You are involved in a whole bunch of really cool things. Your husband is an awesome musical artist. And I just wanted to talk about all that stuff. I know you're part of Gateway Burners.
That's right. So
explain to me a little bit about what Gateway Burner is and what you do and why it's such a cool, awesome thing.
Okay, well, there's this event and it takes place in the Nevada desert every year called Burning Man. It's a giant art festival, a music festival, a little bit of everything. It's a place where creative people go to build a community that is what all creative people kind of dream of. It has a lot of aspects to it. It's always really difficult to explain to people because there's definitely an art component to it where there's a lot of people creating really interesting art there, right? Which they then set fire to. So
it's a bunch of pyromaniacs.
There's a bunch of pyromaniacs there, absolutely.
Never drink alcohol while setting things on fire. But I bet they do.
And that's a rule they don't follow.
Yeah.
You know, they often say that one of the really core important things about Burning Man is that you put safety third. So.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, it's this amazing event that people go to every year, and as a result, it's been going on for 25 years now. And little groups that follow these principles have grown up around the country and locally. One of the groups that Burning Man groups locally is called Gateway Burners, so they conduct a lot of local events that follow the principles, and we try to participate in that. We're actually going to Burning Man in August of this year, so something we're looking forward to. One of the theme this year is Fertility 2.0, so we're trying to think of things that kind of go along with that theme that we could do. You know, our camp is going to host a fixture fertility workshop, for example. It's going to be probably focused on things like vasectomies and other ways to deal with fertility. I think one of the events I was thinking about possibly trying to put together is so. One of the things with Burning Man this year is that they had a lottery system for the tickets, which is a big different, you know, this first year they sold out, so they ended up with a lottery system for people who get the tickets. And so I thought it'd be interesting to kind of play off of that idea and have maybe a booth where there's a bunch of condoms, right? Right. But it's a fertility lottery, so every 100th condom is gonna have a little hole poked in it. so you have the fertility component and also the lottery portion. I'm not sure what the ethics are of giving out broken condoms. But I'll have to think through that one.
Now, each of the camps at Burning Man have like a different theme. Yeah. Right? Is that the way it works?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the theme last year?
Well, we've been camping with Pandora's, and they are a bike fix-it group. So they do a lot of bikes. So that's why a lot of their the events they hold are fixing related, like fixing your fertility or that kind of thing. Right. So, it's really, you know, the camps there run the gamut from things that are incredibly useful, like bicycle repair, to to just everything you can think of. You know, there's alcohol-oriented groups. There's groups that do just all kinds of crazy art things. And
I'm going to interrupt you just a minute. Why don't you turn on the burner with that pan and put about a medium-high heat. Okay. We've got about 12 ounces of mushrooms here. These are baby bella mushrooms, which, by the way, I don't like mushrooms.
You know?
I hate them. I think they're disgusting. I mean, you guys will probably look at this. Oh, that looks so good.
It, yes.
Me, no. But this dish, I love this dish. Even though I hate mushrooms, I love this dish. Which, by the way, not only is this entire meal going to be gluten-free and dairy-free, it also happens to be vegan because this lovely couple is vegan. And let's get, see, this is 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to put this in the pan. We'll let that heat up. Once that heats up, we're going to put the mushrooms in there and kind of cook it up until they get a little brown and start to release the liquid.
Sounds funny.
Cool. Now, you're talking about the fixing the fertility aspect.
Yes.
That's kind of a segue into one of the other things that you're involved in, and that's sex positive St. Louis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what exactly is it? It's like, you know, like a big drunken orgy of people, or what?
Only on the good nights.
Only on the good nights.
No, I mean, you know, sex positivity is, as a general concept, is the idea that we should have a culture where we accept everyone's sexuality, and there's, you know, consensual adult sexuality in whatever form it takes, and it's promoting a culture where that is the way we approach sexuality. So there's a lot of they have a lot of different interesting events. It ranges from just meet and greet, kind of, you know, get together, have coffee, talk about you know, sex positive parenting. They all kinds of different things to parties that are clothing optional parties where it's about body acceptance, that kind of thing. To they're going to participate in you know, they participate in anti-rape events, that kind of thing. Just all kinds of gender issues, the whole range of gamut of issues that are related to sex positivity.
You know, most people, especially in this country, whenever they think of sex and sexuality, they don't really think too much on parenting and sex and sexuality, because sex is something that, you know, as a culture we have grown to assume that children should be protected from. So with the sex positive parenting, how is that approached? How does that help with anything?
And that's a good question. I mean, I think that you're right that in this country, parenting, you know, people keep sexuality and parenting as completely separate issues, but that's one of the big problems we have. It's, as a result of that, a lot of children are raised up in a really sex-negative attitude where they don't know how to approach sexuality when they hit puberty. So that's one of the results of that. Like, a lot of studies show that if you approach sexuality from that perspective, you're much more likely to get disease, get unwanted pregnancies, to end up in a really unfulfilling sexual relationship later on when you reach that point. So a lot of this is about learning how to raise children in a way that they can learn about sexuality in a positive manner. You know, and for young children, that might be more just learning how to accept their bodies. It might not be about sex when you're a 6-year-old. It might be about you know, not feeling ashamed of who they are physically, and learning that kind of thing. Then as they get older and approach adolescence, it's more about learning how to take care of themselves sexually, how to say yes as well as to say no, right? To learn what they like as well as what they don't like, and being able to.
And what is appropriate in a culture and what's not appropriate in a culture, and that sort of thing as well.
Exactly.
And I assume too in how to bring, this is the next generation.
Yes.
So that we're talking about how to prepare them for getting ready to create a more positive sexual experience whenever they get older.
Right.
I think there's a large argument to be made that, you know, sex positivity in its essence is about, you know, parenting and how we're approaching the discussion of sexuality within life, and, you know, how we're approaching that discussion towards children, especially, as a major part of life and a major part of our society and a major part of culture. And if nothing else, it's symbolic of the way in which you are going to approach sexuality in life. Is the way in which you're speaking to your children about it and educating the future sexual members of society.
You're raising people without the shame around sexuality. I mean, because honestly, there's a lot that because we were all, most of us anyway, were raised in a shameful culture where we were taught to be ashamed of our sexuality. That there's a lot of barriers to get past. We can raise the next generation without that, impeding them with less of it. Yeah, that's a major step forward. I mean, you know, I have known a few people who've been raised in environments or families where they weren't shamed for sexuality, and they definitely have a different approach to things. They feel much more empowered to make decisions about what's right for them in a way that other people have a lot of trouble getting to that point in their lives.
Sure, that makes complete sense. Okay, we've got the mushrooms over here, starting to saute up about 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
It's not good.
I think I'm going to toss in just a couple of pinches of some sea salt here. Always love sea salt.
Yummy. And does the sea salt kind of help the mushrooms sort of cook down? That's kind of my experience.
Right, absolutely. And of course, it helps impart the flavor as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is a medley of various peppercorns. We got not just black pepper, we got some white, and that's simply because that's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer.
Right.
And the onion, we've chopped up a small to medium onion here. We're in the right season for Vidalia onions. I absolutely love the sweetness that comes out of Vidalia onion. So I took advantage of that for this. And this will be sauteed up along with some garlic and added to that in a little bit. We also should probably go ahead and get the hash brown started. Why don't you turn on that burner for the other pan. And go ahead and put some, I don't know, tablespoon or 2 of olive oil in that, and we'll put the hash browns in there.
Okay.
Put them up. I think I'm going to chop these onions up just a little more than what I've got them here. I don't want to mince them. I think I want to get them chopped up a little bit more.
I always like the yellow onions too. I think they're more flavorful than the white onions.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've actually read that the darker onions, you can get the more antioxidants and other vitamins and nutrients they have in them.
You know, one thing that, for me, it's important is color in wine.
Mm-hmm.
I love color in my meals. The more colorful it is. Now this one, it's all brown. Well, yeah, it is. But we are going to be adding in some vegetables. We got some fresh green beans. We're going to do a side dish with that, and some red bell pepper and some golden zucchini. I had never seen golden zucchini before. But we were at the grocery store yesterday, and I saw it. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, this meal's nice too because it combines a lot of some of the most nutrient-rich foods. Like I always have this, there's an acronym where it's GOMBBS, greens, onions, mushrooms. So those are 3 of the top nutrient-dense foods, and it's all in this meal. And the other ones are beans, berries, and seeds. So, you know, we've covered half the spectrum there in this one meal.
Absolutely. Okay, how are those mushrooms doing over there? Stir them up a little bit.
Let's see here. Were you using this?
Yeah, use that.
Okay. Looks good. Smells great too.
And it's starting to cook down a little bit. Oh, look at that. Get them coated really good with that olive oil.
Mac is a major fan of mushrooms, so I think I can see him over there drooling already.
And over here with our ingredients that we're still to add in it, we've got some rice wine over here, some gluten-free soy sauce, and vegetable broth. I know most people use a beef bouillon for their stroganoff, and I prefer a vegetable stock to a beef stock. And we're going to use some vegan sour cream. It can be found. It does actually exist. There's no dairy in it whatsoever. This is actually based on soybean. This is a soybean version. And I've got a gluten-free baking mix that I'm using that's going to be added as a thickener. Now, you can use whatever you want. You can use whatever brands of things that you choose to use. It's up to you. For the purposes of this show, I haven't really gotten a hold of anybody and said, hey, you want to sponsor us? So I can't say what products that we're using. But this one is designed to make biscuits and to do them pretty quick. So that should give you an idea. It works great. It's wonderful. I use it for pancakes. I use it for pizza crust. Just about anything to where you would normally use a flour, I use this gluten-free baking mix instead. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, that's heated up. Let's toss these hash browns in here. And cover those and get those cooking really good. So, tell me about the music.
Music? I'll have to have Mac do that. He's, you go. He must have run off for a minute. But, yeah, Mac is a musician. He's classically trained guitarist, and music has been part of his life for a long time, since he was a child. We started dating in college, and we used to get into some fights because he spent so much time on music, and such a big part of his life. So for a while there, I was feeling a little shortchanged. And,
okay, hey, by the way, if you out there watching, you can't see this, but the person behind the camera is my lovely wife. Those of you that live in St. Louis and are part of the roller derby community would know her as Kylie Coyote. She skates with a Confluence Crush roller derby. Bring the camera over here real quick, Kylie. I want to show. You can see here we've got the liquid is starting to cook out of this. These are nice and brown and softened up a little bit. We're going to take these and put them back in this bowl. And back into this pan, we're going to put another tablespoon of olive oil. And the onions. Wow, I got them over without dropping any.
excellent.
We're going to cook these up until they're a little brown, starting to caramelize a little bit. You don't want to get them too caramelized because that'll be just a little bit too sweet.
Yeah.
But just a couple of minutes in here should work out really nice. I am not the greatest at mincing garlic. Never been good at this.
I find you don't have to mince garlic that well with it. Be perfectly fine.
That's true.
Because I could mince garlic well, but I'm lazy.
I've got one more clove over here. I'm using 2 cloves of garlic in this recipe. Alright, add the garlic to the pan. And making a mess of your kitchen, Robin. I hope you don't mind too much.
That's what it's for.
Oh, can you smell that?
It smells so good.
There's a little bit of that juice from the mushrooms in here, and then the garlic and those sweet Vidalia onions. This is going to be good. Okay, I'm going to add in the rice wine at this point. I want that wine to absorb a little bit into these onions and garlic. And then drop these mushrooms back into the pan where we originally had them. How's this hash browns doing? Good. I think maybe I should have cooked them earlier.
They take a while. So tell me, because I always mess hash browns up, and I think it's because I'm not patient enough. So how long do you wait before you turn them?
I wait about 7 minutes.
Okay.
Unless I too am being very impatient. A lot of times I just kind of pick them up a little bit to see if they're browned on the bottom. They are. Then I turn them. Soy sauce. And I'm not telling you how much of these things are in here. but they will be on the screen whenever I edit the video, so that'll be fine. And this is a YouTube video, so the entire recipe is going to be down below in the not the comments, but the description right down there. Got a couple more ingredients to add to this, but I'm going to wait just so that I can let those flavors absorb into those mushrooms a little more.
You should probably mention that not all soy sauce is gluten-free.
This is true. Thank you, Kylie. That is an important thing. Sometimes gluten-free soy sauce can be very difficult to find. Don't assume that anything is gluten-free. For example, one of my favorite candies is that long red licorice kind of thing that I can't tell you what the name of it is, right? Found out that it actually has wheat in it. Who would have thought?
That?
Yeah.
Yeah. How funny.
Okay. Add in the vegetable stock. This time, I'm going to put some generous amounts of salt in here. Now it might look like I'm putting a whole lot of pepper because I'm like grind, but this grinder doesn't actually grind up that much. So everything is to taste. Whatever you like, whatever you think is going to taste good, that's what you should do. I'm a big proponent of taking recipes and doing what you want with them.
Mm-hmm.
Let that cook down a little bit. What we're going to do is kind of let the liquid in this reduce till it's about half of the liquid that's there.
Okay.
And then we're going to be adding in some sour cream and some of the gluten-free baking mix, and then we'll go from there. But we're going to do a side dish too. That's what all these are for. So we still got to chop this up. Let me get rid of this, and I'll let you do some chopping.
All right.
I've already rinsed them. That's why they're in the colander.
Okay.
Cut the green beans up however you think you might like them.
I always try to make them about bite-sized. I have, children. We have a 3.5-year-old and a 6.5-year-old. So if I make them about bite-sized, they're more likely to eat them. I
There
think
you go.
they get intimidated by bigger foods. They feel like that's too much and they can't eat that. So I go for just about size.
Now, you are raising children that are vegan.
Well, they're actually vegetarian. I'm
Vegetarian.
vegan,
You're
the kids
vegan.
are
Okay. So, do you find that they are more? They have they're more likely to eat good, healthy food if it's very colorful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that color is a big factor for them. That they really enjoy foods that are interesting to look at, and that's something that's very appealing to them. So yeah, I think that's true. My son in particular loves brightly colored fruits and vegetables too, for that matter. So I know that when I was raised, that one of the reasons I hated vegetables when I was a child. It's
So
funny
did I.
now that I'm vegan, right? Yeah. And part of the reason I think is because we had really boring vegetables that were badly prepared.
Sure.
So we try to make it tasty.
And in our culture too, we grew up cooking foods, and especially vegetables, until they were mush. They were nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Vegetables should be crisp,
Right.
and they should be, when you bite down on them, you should feel them and you should taste them. They're delicious.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the quality too. I know that my parents didn't put any value into using fresh vegetables or good quality vegetables. A lot of times it's canned or just not very good quality, and I think that makes a big difference.
And the canning process, in order to can something, it has to be heated to a certain point.
Right.
And heating a vegetable to that point kind of destroys the majority of the nutrition that's in it to begin with.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and I mean, I think also just because we raised our kids in an environment where they eat healthy foods, that's made them a lot more open to eating good things. And they like all kinds of fruits and vegetables that, as when I was a child, I didn't even know what they were. Like we didn't eat enough, variety. I didn't even know what some of those things were. So that helps a lot.
Oh, Robin, this is smelling good over here.
Getting hungry.
I've only been gluten-free and dairy-free and vegetarian for I don't know, maybe, I guess, what, close to a year now, Kylie?
About that.
And, you know, people ask, I've also lost an incredible amount of weight recently. And say, how did you lose the weight? And I said, well, you know, aside from just exercising more, I don't eat anything with wheat. I don't eat anything with dairy. And I'm a vegetarian. And first thing out of people's mouths is, oh my God, what do you eat?
I know. Yep, that's my experience too.
But the truth is, eating good and eating healthy can easily be done on a vegetarian, even a vegan diet, even if you are gluten-free and dairy-free.
Right.
People are always asking, but you don't get any protein. No.
Right. My answer to that is always that broccoli has more protein per calorie than steak does. So if you eat a wide variety of foods, including lots of greens and other delicious foods like that, you're going to get plenty of protein.
I think what a lot of people in our culture tend to think is that a vegetarian diet means you go to the grocery store, you go to the freezer section, and you buy the vegetarian burgers, the vegetarian dogs, and the vegetarian yada yada yada.
I've come to the viewpoint that those fake soy products, you know, processed isolated soy protein, essentially, is probably just as bad as processed wheat, other processed sugars.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you have to eat a whole foods diet if you're going to eat, you know, a vegan vegetarian diet. If you want to be healthy, health is part of your motivation. You need to be eating whole, unprocessed foods mostly.
Okay, we're going to turn these hash browns here. If you look down here, they're starting to get nice and golden brown on the bottom. All right, I'm going to turn the burner off on this because these actually look like they're done.
Great.
You want to put that in the warmer?
Yep.
All right. Which, by the way, this recipe was originally adapted by Kylie. She did this one, and she cooked this. She brought it in to me, and I just fell in love with it. That was the vegan sour cream. Turn the heat down just a little bit on that. I'm going to let that simmer like that for about a minute. Then I'm going to add in baking, gluten-free baking mix. And she almost has those veggies ready. So, oh, glasses. I can't see anything without my glasses. I want to turn that one back on. Some more olive oil. So, he's here. You want to talk about his music?
Oh yeah, why don't you tell him about your music? All I can tell him is that you're a musician. You've been a musician a long time, and that when we were in college, it was a little bit of a problem that you spent so much time on your music. It's a big passion in your life.
That's all true. Open-ended question again, but my music is a large portion of my life. I have a degree in classical composition, and I also followed that up and became an audio engineer, so recording bands and that kind of stuff. I tend to manifest that in a multiple variety of ways. I have an element that is a classical musician. I write string quartets, I write classical guitar stuff, I write symphonic pieces even. I have an element where I'm doing more guitar-based stuff. Some of that's more rock and roll, punk rocky stuff. Some of it's more fusion, noise, jazz, something or other. Then I have an element that is singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar, writing silly kid songs and bad love songs. And then an element of avant-garde electronica that is weird and noisy and pretty at the same time.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you for just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Because we're going to take these veggies.
Some very important cookies.
Yes.
And we're going to put them in this pan, and I'm going to take these veggies and put them all over the stove because that's what I do. I make big messes all the time.
We're used to that around here. I didn't know to do that once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while.
All right, and this.
Is there a follow-up show where you come up and clean other people's houses for them?
You want to volunteer tonight? Add a little more veggie oil to this. This, by the way, is not a recipe that I've cooked before. This was just an idea I had while shopping last night. Thought I'd toss it in and see. We've got some green beans, some golden zucchini, and some red bell pepper. Tossed in some olive oil. Throw in some more salt. Which, by the way, these coarser salts like this, they're a little bit different than your standard iodized salt, in that they don't impart as much of a briny flavor. They're not as salty. So you can actually use a little bit more of it. And I'm going to do some Italian seasoning blend here. This is just a blend like right off of the store shelf. Nothing special I've done there. I'm going to cover that so that it kind of steams inside that. Turn that down a little bit more. And now with this, oh, look how creamy that is already. And there is no dairy in that. Look at that. The baking mix is going to thicken that up, turn it into a nice gravy.
So do you know what that baking mix uses as its base if it's not using flour, wheat flour?
It uses a potato starch, tapioca, a mixture of various different starches like that. It's very good. And different baking mixes have different, it just depends on what brand you get. Sometimes they use soy, sometimes they use arrowroot flour.
Sure.
I've seen some with coconut flour. So Matt,
Yeah.
your music, you've got a couple of albums out already now, right?
I have, so over the past decade or so, I have 2 of the electronic albums under the Max Static name. One was in, I guess, in '98, the other was in 2000. I also have a compilation of various projects that it's under the title Count Macula and the Capacitors of Flux. And that's usually stuff where I'm playing guitar and directing other musicians as to what they're going to be doing. So those are the main ones out, as well as playing in a couple bands in that time frame. And we've done.
So is any of this music available? Is it still in distribution, or is it?
Currently, all that stuff is on hiatus until the new record that is being worked on. Sometime this year will come out, and when that does, there will be a website launch, and all the archived Max Static stuff will become available to the public again at that point.
Awesome. So a third album. What's this one going to be like?
This one is within the electronica realm, and it's really taking a multitude of ideas from my classical background, my punk rock roots, and my knowledge now of playing within an electronic computer-based environment, and combining those elements. So there's a lot of improvisational elements, but then using my compositional knowledge to organize those in a way that has some presence to the ear, directing the audience where I want them to go and have their experience. And my line on it is it's the soundtrack to an imaginary sci-fi cartoon. I don't necessarily write with, it's instrumental music, as it were, so there's not a narrative in mind when I write it. I write it about the sounds. But once those sounds are combined and listened to, the human brain likes to put patterns to things, and so I think a narrative can be constructed.
Awesome.
And I like the idea that the audience will be doing that for themselves.
This isn't quite thickened up enough yet.
Ooh, get a taste test, huh?
Taste it.
Okay. Oh, it looks yummy. It smells so good coming in the room.
Oh man.
It's delicious.
Just enough garlic.
It's very
not
good.
Too much.
It's perfect.
It's like chocolate, right?
Does that look good?
Oh, it's
wow.
beautiful too, isn't it? Gosh, it's just a feast for the eyes.
Oh, I can't wait to try that. Let's steam up a little bit more. Let this thicken up just a little bit more. And I think, okay, this is going to take a few minutes to deal with this. So why don't we turn the camera off, Kylie? And we're going to finish this up. And once we get it finished up, we will come back and have it at the kitchen table. And you and your husband and your kids can enjoy it.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
TV. So eat some food and tell them what you think about it. Okay? Does that
Okay,
sound
guys.
It looks beautiful.
Dig in. Tell me what you think.
All right. Looks delicious.
Again, it really does.
It's hot. Oh, be careful. Don't burn yourself.
That's really good.
Yes,
You like that? You like that? What did you say? It's yummy.
I like the mushroom stroganoff aspect. And it has a stroganoff element to it, and he definitely brings that across. And I didn't see what you did in there, but I know it's vegan, so that's intriguing to have vegan stroganoff in general. I hope you have this in your brain. So.
Yeah, one of the reasons I thought this would be a great meal is that he loves stroganoff, but I haven't really made it forever because since I've been vegan, because it normally has dairy in it. So,
Right.
Great.
Okay. Well, guys, that's it for this episode. Join us again next time. I have no clue what we're going to fix next time, but I can tell you this. It will be gluten-free, dairy-free, and de-effing-licious. Yes.
Can you say de-effing-licious?
Yeah.
Say it. De-effing-licious. Yes. Okay. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.